Norman fucking Rockwell is the sixth album or fifth on a major label from Lana Del Rey. To put it shortly, it is easily head and shoulders above the rest of her discography, and it might just be one of the best albums of 2019 so far. At this point, she's been quite a significant player in the music industry for the best part of a decade now, albeit with a somewhat mixed bag of a discography. She really blew up in the summer of 2011 with a string of successful singles, Video Games the most notable one, and then she shortly followed that up with Born to Die, which was an early 2012 release. I personally appreciate this album just for its nostalgic quality to me, but I can see why a lot of people would view it as over melodramatic and immature at times as well. Regardless of this, it's hard not to appreciate the influence that Lana Del Rey has had on popular music in the last decade. Instead of the overblown kind of EDM inspired approach to pop production that was really everywhere in the early part of the decade, we saw a shift towards a more laid back kind of hip hop inspired approach to production. Now, Ultraviolence saw Lana Del Rey switch approach again. She went for a more guitar inspired soft rock approach, and I felt this provided her most impressive and frustrating work at the same time. I'd say like the first 5 or 6 songs on the album are some of the best in her career, but then the rest of the album falls a bit flat and it falls back into the old tropes of being over melodramatic and fantasizing about this idealized version of American romance and tragedy and love. That inconsistency across albums continued with Honeymoon and Lust for Life. Honeymoon contains some of her most genuinely dramatic and cinematic works, and she was also willing to incorporate more textured and ambient instrumentations in her songs. But once again, the main downfall to the album was just the inconsistency. Lust for Life suffered as well, especially with her, again, fascination with everything American romance and tragedy and everything retro as well, and I felt that grew tired over runtime, which was well over an hour long. So now we come to Norman fucking Rockwell. The first single dropped, I think, over a year ago. That was Mariner's Apartment Complex. I didn't listen to this when it came out just because Lust for Life had put me off a lot of Lana Del Rey's music for quite a long period of time. Now, the first thing to note about this album is that she has finally shed this idealized version of everything romantic, and even sometimes she would romanticize tragic elements about her life or other people's lives. And I feel she's now embraced a more realistic and darker existence for herself and an outlook on the rest of the world. And this makes for a much more captivating and enjoyable and mature songwriting experience. The second thing to note is the sheer scope of the album. Both musically and lyrically, it's extremely expansive. She draws from old 70s soft rock, piano balladry, and some faint hip-hop inspiration as well. Now, of course, when you mention the scope of this album, you have to mention the song Venice Bitch. At over 9 minutes long, it's easily the longest song that she's recorded so far. Instead of longing for this fairy tale dreamlike romance as she has done in a lot of her works before, she's now grounded that in wanting a simple monogamous relationship. At one point of the song she says, "Give me Hallmark, one dream, one life, one lover." And at the very start of the song she sings, "Fear fun, fear love, fresh out of fucks forever." I feel this signals an anxiety for being truly happy, maybe because there's some underlying fear that this happiness will end abruptly for her. The instrumentation on this song is stunning, of course. The instrumental middle section has these quite soft acoustic guitar work going on, coupled with this zany synth sounds that offset each other quite well. Cinnamon Girl may be one of the darkest songs that she has written in her career. She sings about a potentially harmful and toxic relationship that she's that she's almost trapped in, and it has her in a deep personal conflict. At one point in the song she sings, "If you hold me without hurting me, you'll be the first who ever did." And I feel this one line encapsulates so much. It tells me that she's wary about being open and entrusting herself into the arms of another man or a new lover because of the past experiences that she's had, because of the possible mental or emotional abuse that she's been subjected to. And the bar has been set so low for her that she just appreciates when she's being treated with respect, which should be the bare minimum. It's all the more heartbreaking when you consider that this is under the false pretense of a loving relationship. And again, Lana is scared of entering into this relationship, and you can completely understand why in the song. She also sings, "All the pills that you take, violet, blue, green, red, to keep me at arm's length, don't work." The lover she's talking about is clearly struggling with some sort of substance abuse, maybe as a way of escaping his toxic traits or escaping some sort of blame. But she's there to call him out on this and saying, "This won't work. This is just a quick fix solution." The post-chorus of this song is one of the most moving moments on the entire album. She begins to sing in her higher register as she asks her lover to hold her and to help her and to love her. There's also a left field choice in the track list. She chooses to cover the 1996 Sublime song "Doing Time." She provides a unique spin on the original composition, combining her slow crooning voice with a more upbeat instrumental than appears on the rest of the album. This does exactly what a cover should do. It pays homage and respect to the original whilst bringing something new to the table and adding her own unique spin on it, which justifies the cover's existence in the first place. Of course, she makes references to themes that she is well known for, most notably on the song "California." The lyrics harken back to the old Lana Del Rey of wanting that fairy tale American ending, or fairy tale ending. This, coupled with its nostalgic value and its patriotic nature, make it a classic Lana Del Rey song. What does make this song stand out is the kind of desperation in some of the lyrics. At one point she sings, "We'll do whatever you want." I feel this signals that she is so willing to bend over backwards for this person and to achieve this idealized version of love that she longs for so much, that she is willing to put herself in harm's way to do so. It's this complex portrayal of past relationships and tragedy that makes the songwriting captivating and enjoyable to listen to from start to finish. It's also what makes it genuinely dramatic as opposed to being melodramatic, which is something that Lana has done quite a lot of in her career. Now, because of her past obsession with this idealized version of the fairy tale American happy ending, it can be quite hard to distinguish whether she's being sarcastic or genuine on some of the songs, and I feel this is where it is up to the listener to interpret that for themselves. From the very start of the album, you can see the internal conflict that she's going through. On the title track, she sings, "Goddamn man-child, you fucked me so good, I almost said I love you." And then almost immediately after, she says, "You don't know half of the shit you put me through." This sets up a recurring theme that's all over the album, where she's dealing with traits that she sees in a partner or potential partner that are clearly toxic, but the conflict comes in when she still has feelings for that person, still loves that person. She also uses this song to comment on the artistic process, and she frames it as a song about a pretentious poet who's struggling with some sort of writer's block and can't find inspiration. In the narrative of this song, he blames the news for his lack of artistic output. I think this may be an allusion to the idea that sometimes there's an argument that artists need some sort of tragedy or conflict to create moving pieces of art, which is quite unhealthy, and I don't think it's true personally. The album comes full circle with the song "Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have." She this time critiques public perception of herself. She draws parallels between herself and the poet Sylvia Plath as well. I feel with Norman fucking Rockwell, she has essentially reinvented herself as a very astute and accurate observer of love and tragedy and heartbreak. And her songwriting abilities have skyrocketed in comparison to the rest of her discography. Most importantly, she has almost completely eradicated any kind of melodrama that was present in her previous albums. Norman fucking Rockwell is most likely one of the very best albums to come out of 2019 so far. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to let me know in the comments down below what artist or album you think I should talk about next. Make sure to like, subscribe and dong the bell, and I will see you next time.